it is time to do a whole bunch of side splits and side splits related stretching. My name is Ken. We do this every single day to practice consistency. Hopefully, with that consistency and you guys coming back, we build a little bit of community. And with that community, hopefully, a bunch of us will make a whole bunch of progress towards our side splits together. This is as much for me as it is for you. I don't have the side splits yet. I'm working on them and I'm working on them every day and I'm trying to practice consistency. So you guys showing up helps support me and gives me motivation to keep on working really hard. And hopefully, me showing up bring good vibes, uh, lots of instruction to help you help new people as they come in. Will give you a little space on the internet for you to practice a little bit more and build up that consistency. All right. I hope you have fun. And before we begin, there's two things I want to talk about. Actually, it's just one thing. We need a cushion for our knee at one point in a couple of minutes. So go ahead and grab that. I have an old slipper that I'm going to use, and it's going to be just fine. So that anything that you can put your knee on that's got a little bit of foam will be good. All right, let's get into our first warm-up exercise. Kesha, welcome. Okay, let's see. Kesha says, finally made it on time. You did great. Thank you for being here on time. I think you might be the first person other than Travel with Roxy. So you might be the second person here. So you did good. You did awesome. All right, let's get into the hip cars. Oh, hip cars are all about moving our hips through the full range of motion using our own muscles to do it. So we're going to lift that knee as high as possible. I know I'm wearing dark pants and dark shirt, so I'm going to angle everything just a little bit, and I'm going to try to talk us through so you can see the details, because luckily the background is white. All right. Lift that knee as high as possible. Open up that hip directly to the left or right, depending on which side you're doing. And try to keep the knee as high as possible. Take some nice deep breaths then while trying to keep your body straight. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're leaning a little bit to the side, that's okay. But try to keep it kind of ish straight. Lift that leg as high as possible. All right. And keep the ankle as high. Ooh, ankle as high as possible. Man, I'm totally losing balance trying to rotate around to show you a better angle. And then bring that leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, pull that leg behind. We actually do want to try and keep the torso pretty straight up. So I'm exaggerating a little bit when I do this, but it's also partially because I'm off balance, because I'm really trying to push that leg out behind me. And if you're holding on to something, it'll be much easier to stay balanced and keep you from doing all of this leaning that I happen to be doing. All right. That is the hip car in one direction. Kind of threw in a whole bunch of other stuff in there. So let's do that one more time and we'll get our reps in. All right. High knee. Open directly to the left or right. Rotate that leg so that the ankle is as high as the knee and it's hidden behind it. I'm going to rotate around. Hopefully don't lose balance while I show you this. And then finally bring the leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes. Feel the stretch in the front of that hip. That is one rep. We're going to do 10. Let's go. Follow along. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. I think that's 4. 5. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. If you're just joining in, you have no idea what we're doing, but it looks kind of cool. These are called hip cars. CARS stands for controlled articulated rotations, and it's all about moving our hips through the full range of motion. I think we've done 10, but I started the description thing, so I kind of lost count. Anyways, we're just going to go ahead and move on and get to the other leg. Same thing. Whew. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. So, as I was saying, this is all about moving your hips through the full range of motion as much as you can and getting stronger, but also moving a little bit better. And I promise, we'll talk about this in a second, when you get really strong with these muscles, lifting your leg up into the air, your hip mobility will get better. There's a whole bunch of stretches and video you've probably seen on the internet where people are going like, some version of this on the floor. This also helps with that stuff. Whew. All right. I think a whole bunch of people are coming in. So let's start from the top. We're doing hip cars. We're lifting the knee as high as possible. We're opening up that hip directly to the left or right, depending on what side you're doing. Keeping that knee as high as possible the whole time. Then we're rotating that leg, and I just lost balance. We're rotating the leg so that the ankle comes up and gets as high as possible. Let me shake out this leg. I've lost balance. Whew. Trying to keep this leg like this. Then we're going to bring the leg down and back, flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, feel the stretch in the front of that hip flexor. And that is 1 rep. I'm pretty sure we've done like 6 or 7. So let's just finish this leg and go to the back direction. Whew. I really need to go get something to hold on to. My left glute is firing so hard because I spent so long just holding and demonstrating the leg that I was using to bounce. So I'm going to just pull over this chair in case I need to take a quick break. There's going to be a chair right here just off the edge of the camera that I can use to stabilize and keep going. Okay. Let's go backwards. Before we go backwards, I think there's a whole bunch of chat that I am missing. But in case, ooh, man, I must have been talking a lot because I am out of breath, not breathing. If there's something you can take away from this right now at this moment, it is to make sure you breathe because that helps you relax and that helps you just in general move. And we got a whole bunch of people following. I love it. I appreciate it. AIEG says, "Oh my God, yes, I need hip strengthening and stretching circuits." Lovely. Thank you for coming to hang out. We got plenty of that coming up. The whole next 35 minutes is probably going to be just that. Don't discount yourself. Just followed. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. And I think those are the big things. Let's keep going. We're doing hip cars. Now we're going backwards. All right. What that means is, especially if you just popped in, is we're moving our legs through the full range of motion at the hip, and it looks a little bit like this. There's 4 main places we're trying to hit, but the end goal is to make it smooth and flow really well. But you only get smooth if you work on the little pieces a little bit at a time. All right. So here are the pieces. We're going to bring the leg down and back, which means from the side, it looks a little bit like this. We're trying to keep our upper body nice and straight. We're flexing the hamstrings, flexing the glutes, trying to pull this leg behind us, feeling that stretch in the hip flexor in the front. And then we're going to lift that leg directly up to the side. If you need to grab something to give you a little bit of support and hold for balance, go ahead and grab that. We're going to try our best to keep this ankle as high as possible and the knee as high as possible. Then we're going to rotate that leg so that the ankle is down and the knee stays high. All right, I'm going to turn now. You don't have to turn, but I just want to show you what my leg is doing. It's hard to see when I'm turned the other way, but my knee is pointing directly out to my left. All right, this is almost 180 degrees. I'd say it's like 170. I'm really trying to open up my hip, and I'm trying to keep the knee high. All right, end range of motion. Finally, we're going to bring that knee all the way to the front, and that's where we finish. Technically, your hip socket can actually go a little bit further that way. Please go ahead. Go take advantage of all that range of motion because if you really want maximum hip cars, technically there's a little bit more here and there's like a little bit more back there. But we're doing most of it, like 90% of the useful stuff in our variation. All right, let's go. We got 9 more. And I'm going to start doing them facing you so it's easier to mirror me and follow along. Again, if you need to grab something, hold on to for balance to help you stay up a little straighter, to help you move, please go grab that thing. All right, let's go. Back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee. I think that's 7-ish, maybe 8, 9, and 10. Whew. All right. That's the left side. It is done. Let's go and finish up on the right side. Ooh, hip cars backwards. Back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee. My hip just cracked. It made a big sound, but it's kind of still making that sound. Back, side, ankle, knee. Okay, there we go. It stopped. Just needed some warm up. Back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee. I have completely lost track of the count because I was focused on while my hip was making sounds. But let's call this number 10 because we probably did way more than 10 anyway. All right, we just finished up our first warm up exercise, the hip cars. It's all about moving our hips and our legs to their full range of motion, or as much of it as we can, using our own muscles. Let's get ready to get into exercise number 2. Uh, Limitless says this exercise is good. It is good. Thank you. Angela just followed. Welcome. Tibby, I think, just followed. Welcome, welcome. Limitless also followed. Welcome. Chelsea. H. Lundy 90. Wow, a whole bunch of people. This is awesome. The Late Blooming Creative. Welcome, everybody. If you have no idea what you're doing, you just saw me doing some stretching real quick. We're doing 30 minutes of live side split stretching. At this point, we're probably going to run a little bit longer than 30 minutes. Maybe 30 minutes from now is when we'll end. And we do this every single day so that we can build consistency, right? Because at the end of the day, if you show up for one day and you get a really good workout, you'll feel really good about yourself, which is awesome. And you should never discount that. But it's a little bit hard to make a bunch of progress off of just one day. And the only thing you can really do is accumulate little tiny bits of change into something bigger. And that requires consistency. So hopefully with my consistency and your consistency and our collective consistency with everybody who comes onto the live, who's following as we speak, we can build a little bit of community, and hopefully we can all come together, hang out, build some friendship, make a fun place on the internet where it's full of good vibes, and together we can make some progress towards our side split goals. All right. Angela just wrote, recovering from upper bilateral surgeries. These will be helpful with getting back up and movement. Yes, the only way you can get better at moving is to move more. And I'm glad that, we can be a little bit of a piece of helping you move a little bit more and recover. So let's get into exercise number 2. It's not that intense. Don't worry. I know if you just came in during the hip stuff that we were just doing, it might look a little intimidating. The next one starts nice, slow, and gentle. We're coming into this L shape. It's all about hamstrings. This is called the elephant walk. And what we're gonna do is just try to bring our belly buttons down as low as possible. If you're a little bit higher up, you don't have that hamstring flexibility to be super low yet, that's okay. It's totally normal. Just get into the best position you can. Try to fold and bring your belly button down as much as you can. When you are feeling that hamstring build up in intensity, take a nice big deep breath and relax. Let's see if you can just sink a little bit more. I tried to take the first couple of seconds of each position kind of slow so that you have a chance to adapt and get into being warmed up. And that means we try to move slowly. And while I was talking about why I do that, I forgot to tell you, we're bending one knee at a time, and we're trying to keep our belly button low. We're trying to feel the hamstring stretch. And when you bend the knee, your hips are going to start twisting a little bit and rotate a little bit. Just take advantage of this time to feel your hamstrings get tighter, to feel your hips sort of wiggling and moving around. And we'll get into something a little bit more serious, a little bit more intense in like 3 more seconds. So bend one knee, straighten the other leg, bend the other knee, straighten the other leg, bend the knee from before and straighten the other leg from before. And just do a little bit of that the whole time. You're trying to bring your belly button down towards the ground. If it helps, you can imagine trying to bring your chest to the ground. You can imagine bring your head to the ground. Whew. All right, let's add a little bit more fun stuff to that. Hopefully, you'll notice that over the course of the last couple of seconds, you've gotten a little bit more agile. Maybe your hamstrings are warmed up. You're moving a little bit better than you thought you could. Let's add a little bit more. We're going to bend one knee, straighten the other leg, and we're going to really focus on bringing the belly button down as much as possible. Feel the hamstring tension build up here. You might be feeling a little bit of a stretch here at the sort of right behind the knee. for the bent leg. And for the straightened leg, usually the hamstring, you start feeling it a little bit higher up, sort of in the middle of the hamstring. So above the knee, under the glute is where most of that stretch will be. From here, I'm going to face you real quick. You don't have to move. I'm moving. I want you to grab your leg. So my right leg is straight right now. I'm taking my left hand to grab my right leg. I'm going to use it to help push my chest open and twist that chest up. Take that right hand, stick it up into the sky, and try to bring it behind me. Look at my fingers pointing wherever they are, and come back down. Next time we get there, try to get to the same spot or further. All right, let's do the same thing other side. We just grabbed the right leg. Now we're going to grab the left leg, which means the left leg is straight, right leg is bent. Right hand is grabbing left leg, opening up that chest, lifting that left hand, pointing it up and behind us. Oh, and come back down. All right. What we just did is called thoracic rotation, if you're going to Google it. But what we're doing is just we're twisting the upper back, and our back is designed to be able to twist, but we don't do very much of it in day-to-day life. And if you look at any training stuff, whether it's lifting weights or calisthenics, we tend to do very, very, very little twisting or rounding of the back in most directions, right? Like we almost never do this directly to the side. We almost never twist unless you watch videos of old Asian grandmas in the park who do stuff like this in Tai Chi, right? But in a lot of our physical culture, there isn't that much moving of the spine. And the spine moving well is very important for pretty much everything as an adult, right? You're just lifting stuff off the ground, grabbing things like falling children or pets, right? All of that is weird, kind of strange movement. It requires your back to do things that not very many people are training. So take advantage of this time to get a little bit of a stretch in, get your chest and your shoulders and your back all moving. We're doing just a couple more of those, and we're going to move on into warm-up exercise number 3, the Cossack switch. All right, let's go ahead and transition now if you're still doing the really fun twisty stuff. For the Cossack switch, we're going to try to keep our legs about 2 times our hips width to start, and we can adjust anytime as we're down there. What that means is this right here, where my hands are touching, that's 1 hip width. So this is about 2 hips width. So realistically, I probably actually want 2.5 hips width, but now we're just getting into semantics. We're opening up the legs. We're pointing our toes out roughly 30 to 45-ish degrees. We're trying to drop our knees down in the same direction as our feet. So if your toes are pointed out here at 45 degrees, I want your knees to travel in the same direction so that you can go down and hang out as low as you can go. Right now, I want your heels down on the ground. I want you to feel a little bit of pressure here in the front of the ankle. I want you to feel that stretch in that Achilles, maybe in your calf. And I want you to feel that pressure in the hip as you hang out here. All right. Take some nice deep breaths, relax. Again, like I said, before the warm-up especially, we try to take the first position nice and chill so that you get a chance to get your body to adjust to these weird things that it probably hasn't done in a while, or at least not today. And next up, we're going to try and get over to the other side and mirror what we're doing right here. All right, we got lots of options. You can stick your hands down and help yourself over, nice and gentle. That's probably going to be the easiest way to get across. Same thing on this side. I want you to feel the pressure in the front of the ankle. I want you to feel that stretch in your Achilles tendon, maybe in the calves. I want you to feel the pressure in that hip joint and just hang out. We're not doing anything intense. We're not doing anything explosive. We're not doing anything that should be adding any extra stress. Just nice and calm. All right. The Cossack switch is one of those moves where there's a lot of balance involved. You got to balance leaning forward, leaning back, figuring out how to move from side to side. And that's what makes it a really good exercise. Because you got to work all of these crazy hip muscles that you never work. And wow, I'm surprisingly out of breath. I must be talking a ton. All right. One last thing, and then we'll move on. From here, I want you to notice that the heel is down, the toes are up, and the knees are pointing up. This is called leg external rotation because we're instead of having the feet down like this, we're rotating it to the outside of our body and our toes are going up. All right. We need this later for the side splits, so I'm pointing it out now so you get an idea of how to do it in a little bit when I talk about it again. All right. From here, we've hung out on each side for a little bit. Let's work on transitioning from side to side. We're going to do probably 5 left and 5 right. And the gentlest way to get from side to side is definitely to put your hands down on the ground and give yourself a little bit of support. If you're feeling strong, you can try and sit back. You can try to lengthen your spine, stick your arms out in front of you to help counterbalance your weight. And you can go from side to side like so. If you want, you find maybe the hips or the knees are a little uncomfortable, you can come up a little bit first and then do that and then come down. All right. If you're feeling real strong but not flexible, maybe you can do a full squat and then come down. Wherever it is that works for you, just make sure you're going from side to side. We have little details that you can tweak, and I'll just mention them as we go from side to side. And that is this leg. Now that you've gotten a couple of these movements done, you can point the leg wherever you want. It's totally okay if you point the knee directly in front of you. All right. And your Cossack switch looks like this. It's okay if you angle your knee out that way. It's okay if you almost get it 180 degrees. Those are all totally viable ways for your hips to move and for your knees to move. So I recommend you experiment, play with it. Maybe you want to get stronger. Maybe there's something cool you want to do. You can always add a little bit to your warm up. All right, let's get into the next stretch and our official stretches because our warm ups are wrapped up. We are done doing all the movement from side to side. It's time to get into stretch number 1, the hamstring stretch. You need to grab a cushion or a flip flop or a towel or something to just pad your knee because we're doing the stretch on our knee. All right, it's going to look a little bit like this. We're going to drop down to one knee. We're going to stick the other leg that we're going to stretch right in front of us. I'm pretty sure I forgot to tell you we're doing a hamstring stretch. So we're doing a hamstring stretch. And what we want to focus on is keeping this line as straight and together as possible. All right. Might be tempting. Maybe you're more comfortable. Maybe you feel more flexible if your leg slightly goes off to the side. It's not what we're doing. Just keep everything pointed straight in front of you as much as possible. We're focusing on the belly button. We're trying to bring it down. We're trying to use that belly button to touch our thighs. Okay. And as you're folding forward, you'll notice, wow, my hamstring is so tight. This is so not fun. That's okay. That's normal. Well, when you get there, when you get into the stretched position, take a nice big deep breath and release. That will help you relax just a little bit and it'll basically send a signal to your body that it's safe ish. Might not make that big of a difference to your hamstring, but helps you calm down a little bit. All right. From here, we're going to bring that belly button. We're going to keep on trying to apply steady, but not super intense, just gentle pressure to try to bring our belly button down to the ground. We're going to hold this and apply pressure for about 30 seconds. We're going to start that right now. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. It should feel uncomfortable, but it should not hurt per se. Hurt and pain, when I talk about it, will mean if you stop and the pain still exists, that means you've probably gone too far and you need to take a break. If as soon as you stop stretching and within like 2 seconds the pain is completely gone, like that discomfort disappears, then you're stretching. You're doing it right. All right. That's how I tell the difference between one I've overdone it versus one we're doing it just fine. I don't think there's been that many instances where I have felt pain unless I've been doing something really silly. Like I was warmed up once after a dance class and I tried to get into a deep front split a little aggressively. Like I sort of like jumped into it. Bad idea. That was a lot of That was a lot of weight. All right. Where are we? Let's just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, come back up. Oof. Did that right. Your hamstring stretch is feeling intense. But now that we've come back into standing, you shake out your leg a little bit. The pain is gone. You're just mildly, like ever so slightly tingly. Maybe is the word. It's not actually really tingly. It's just like you're a little bit different, and it's okay. All right, let's move on to the next stretch. We're going to the other leg. Whew. Oh, okay. Same thing. Trying to square up our hips, sticking the leg directly in front, bring the belly button down as low as we can go. And we're feeling that stretch, feeling that stretch building. Take a nice big deep breath. Release. Try to relax and see if you just get slightly deeper into that front stretch. Oh, okay. That's it. We covered everything. Let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27. Remember, this is about the belly button. Trying to bring it down. We talk about the belly button a lot because your belly button is right above your hips. And really, the only thing we actually care about is what direction your hips are pointing. Your upper back, your head, they got a lot of mobility. And so you can round your back. You can sort of adjust those very easily. But your belly button is very hard to get it to move in a direction that your hips are not moving in. So it's a very good measure of are we going in the right direction. So belly button to the thighs. We're almost done. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Come on up. Get out of it. You don't need the cushion anymore. You don't need the flip flop. We are ready to move on. All right. If you watched somehow the last couple of seconds of the hamstring stretch, I like to add a little bit of sort of these like pulsy things to it. And feel free to add it to your stretch. If you have an achy knee, sometimes when you're in this position, putting pressure on the knee joint is kind of painful. So you're welcome to try this with a slightly bent leg, first off. If you really want to, you can really bend it and try to bring your chest down to that thigh first, and then try to straighten out your leg afterwards. It's still a hamstring stretch, and we're still spending the time doing it. It's just maybe a variation that is a little bit more comfortable for you, depending on your knee situation. All right, we're going to move on into the next stretch real soon. I'm going to just come back, check out the chats to see if there's anything I need to address. Appreciate people who are following. Goldie X, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Christian Kane, welcome. Thank you for following. IG, thank you for the gifts and joining the fan club. Lemulus asked about the Spider-Man stretch. I don't know what that is, but feel free to send me a link to that so I can take a look. I can imagine certain things called like a Spider-Man push-up that I've seen on Instagram, but I don't know what exactly you're talking about. Cryptid Cupcake 6. These stretches have been really nice to do after work. Lovely. I am so glad that you're able to get off work, relax a little bit, get some stretching in, and you actually enjoy it because that makes this all the more better. Okay. Trevor Doxy says, I think that sent when you were doing the Cossack switch. Oh, okay, great. I'm glad you enjoyed the Cossack switch. All right, let's get into the second stretch. It's often called the butterfly. If you've seen high school kids running at the park, you might see this stretch more often. And it looks a little bit like this. We're bringing our feet together, and the goal is to bring the knees down to the ground. It's to open up the groin. And to really open it up, your best bet is to bring your knees down into the ground. However, when you are just kind of sitting around like this, it's really hard to push your knees down because there's nothing to push against, right? So what I like to do is recommend you use a wall. And we're going to go back to this wall behind me real quick to show you what that means. If your hips, your shoulder, your head are against the wall, One, you'll have a nice straight posture. You won't have to worry about your posture. So that's good. Makes life a little bit easier. Then, when you bring your feet in towards you, something about resting your hips against that wall makes it easier to pull your feet in towards your body. All right. Now that you've pulled them in as close as you can, I want you to focus on using your muscles to bring your knees down to the ground. So that means the outer thighs and the glutes. I want you to contract them, pull them open, stretch out your groin muscles, and bring your knees to the ground as much as possible. All right. And we're just going to take a couple seconds to do that real quick. And you might notice that my knees are already much closer to the ground. And also, I'm having a way more difficult time talking because I am really contracting those muscles and trying to stay tight. All right. Once you have brought your knees as low to the ground as possible, as you can for today, take your hands and apply some pressure to the knees. If your shoulders and your head are still against the wall, you'll suddenly feel a whole bunch of pressure in the back of your head, maybe in your shoulders, and that is coming from your arms trying to push your legs down. This is why the wall is awesome. You're able to apply pressure into your legs because the back of your head and your shoulders are helping you out by pushing against the wall. And you can't do that when you're seated not against the wall. All right, 30 seconds. Let's go. Flex those glutes, flex those thighs, apply some pressure with your hands. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Remember to breathe. 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Let the hands off the legs. And for a moment, your legs will just be confused and not work if you did, 30 seconds of contracting those muscles, just kind of keep them open. So take your hands, push your knees back up, give them a chance to sort of wiggle and flap around. I assume this is why it's called the butterfly. And once your legs are starting to feel okay again, come on back up into standing. Our third stretch is called the standing pancake, and we start it from a standing position. If you just joined in, you have no idea what we're doing. We're doing like 35, 40-ish minutes of side split stretching. We do this every single day. Hope you're having fun. Let's move on to the third stretch. Whew. The standing pancake, we start in a standing position, obviously, but it's about opening up the legs. You don't have to open them up until like your deepest possible position, just a little bit. You don't ever have to leave an comfortable position. You don't ever have to be uncomfortable, is the better way to say that in this position. If this is your max, this is your max. It's okay. We're folding at the hips and we're trying to bring our chest and our head down to the ground. All right. I'm going to rotate so you can see. We're trying to go that way, down, 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 as much as possible. When you get really, really flexible at some point, your head like goes in between your legs and you look, I don't know, like a pancake, right? It's really hard to get there. So we do variations that are really easy for gravity to assist us with, right? So in this position, our whole entire upper body is being pulled down by gravity. And it's pulling so that the leverage, the longer and taller your upper body is, or perhaps your arms, if you stick them out in front, the more pressure it's going to pull right here at this hip hinge and pull into that hamstring stretch. Okay. So what we're doing is basically that. We're going to get into as deep and comfortable a open leg position as you can, folding forward, sticking your arms out in front of you, feeling all that pressure building in your hamstrings, in these inner thigh muscles, and we're holding this for 30 seconds. If it gets too intense, you can always put your hands down. If it is kind of too intense, but you can still hold it, maybe you can do one arm instead of both. Pick your poison and you can change it anytime. There's no pressure for me. We're just trying to get a little bit better every day. All right, let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, put your hands down, come back up, and take a quick break. If you did that right, your legs are probably really tired, very unhappy, and that's all part of the process. All right. There's two main places where you'll be feeling that stretch. One is the inner thighs over here. That's because you try to open up your legs and do stuff. Anytime you do that, these inner thigh muscles are going to freak out and try to stop you. That's why they're uncomfortable. But you probably feel it even more in the hamstrings. Your hamstrings are a group of muscles that connect pretty much below your knee and into the hip. And that means anytime you bend forward at all, your hamstrings are getting involved. That means it doesn't matter if your legs are together and we were doing this hamstring stretch earlier or the elephant walks earlier, or if your legs are super far apart and you're folding forward like in the pancake. Your hamstrings are going to be unhappy every single time. And that is why we do a whole bunch of hamstring stuff prior to this to warm up. We did the hamstring stretch as the first stretch. We did the elephant walk and we were trying to stay mobile, get the blood flowing. And now you see why we had to do all those things, because the standing pancake is really freaking hard. All right, we're going to move on into the fourth stretch. Strawberry Shortcake 420 just followed. Welcome, Feisty Jess, also followed. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Pamarab says, I'm getting older and have arthritis issues. Hopefully these stretches will help me. I hope so too. Thank you for sending the heart, and I appreciate you joining in. All right, let's see. We have the fourth stretch now. The fourth stretch is called the figure four, and I didn't really do this intentionally. It just kind of happened. Originally, it was the pigeon, and it wasn't called the figure four stretch, but then at some point I made the connection. But the figure four is called the figure four because we bring our ankle across to the other side of our body. And the goal is to bring our chest down to that leg. So we get into this sort of position where the hip is getting this really intense stretch. All right. There's two variations to this, two main variations to this. And one looks like this, except we are laying on our backs. So I'll rotate this way so you can see what I'm doing with my legs. We're taking the leg we want to stretch. We're crossing it over to the opposite knee. We're trying to keep the ankle right at the knee. And we reach our hands through, grab that knee, and pull everything in towards our chest. That variation requires your arms to work pretty hard to pull your leg in, but it has the benefit of having a lot of control. You can enhance the stretch, make it more difficult by pulling in. You can take a small break by letting your leg out, and you control exactly where your ankle is and how your hips moving. The other variation is called a pigeon for all my yogis or yogi enthusiasts. And it looks a little bit like this. We're bringing this leg across our body and we're trying to bring it sort of square. That's not the right word. Perpendicular to our chest, and try to bring our chest and our hips down to the ground as low as possible to get as much of a stretch as we can. Looks a little bit like this. As long as you are feeling the stretch sort of along the outside of the butt and the glutes, you're basically doing the right thing. If you're not feeling any pain, you're fine. So let's go ahead, get into position, and do 30 seconds. Since I'm already in pigeon mode, I'm going to do the pigeon. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. A common thing that happens is when you get too comfortable in this position, that leg that you're stretching on, the ankle will start coming towards your hips, towards your groin area. And what you want to do is make sure this leg is pushed far away to get the most out of the stretch. And I say far away, but I just mean, square to your body, perpendicular to your chest, not actually far. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If at any point during that stretch you start getting too comfortable and you're like, oh, I can chill here all day, that's probably a sign you need to tweak your leg position and make it a little bit harder and more painful by choice. You gotta choose your suffering. All right, let's get into the other side. Get ready. Same thing. Bring your chest down, keep your hips low, keep the leg nice and straight across your body. And 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Feel free to experiment with where your chest is pointing. Eventually, you don't have to do this now. You don't have to do this today. You don't have to do this week. Just at some point, see what happens if you point your head maybe like 15, 20 degrees to the left and your whole upper body also twists that way. Or maybe the opposite. And just hang out there for a second. Whew. All right. As long as you're feeling a stretch, it's probably all good for you. All right. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We're done with the pigeon. We are done with all of the preparation. So far, we've done 3 warm-up exercises. We've done 4 different stretches. And all of those different things basically prepare our bodies for what's coming up next. We are doing the side splits. All right. For the side splits, instead of just doing 1 round of 30 seconds, we're doing 3 rounds of 30 seconds. In between each of those rounds, we're going to shake it out, wiggle, relax, make sure our joints are working okay. And then we're going to get back into more side splits. If you're having fun so far, if you're entertained, if you learned something, if you're doing good, you want to practice more consistency by hanging out more and doing more stretches tomorrow, the day after. I do this every single day, and we do this every day for about 30, 45, 50 minutes ish to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, and hopefully help a bunch of people make a bunch of progress towards their side split goals. And if you don't make it to side splits, at the very least, your hips will be more flexible and strong, which is good for everybody, right? So let's get into the side splits. Whew. Before we get into full stretchy on the ground stuff, I want to talk about safety. This wall that we've used a handful of times already for our stretches, I want you to get really close to that wall. And when I say close, I mean one step away, 8 to 12 inches, 20 to 30 centimeters. And that is because when your legs are open and you're trying to get into the side split, if you lose balance, you start leaning really far back and you start falling backwards, it can be really scary. So if you have the wall right behind you and your butt can touch the wall at any time, it'll keep you from falling and it'll help you feel really safe. All right. What we want you to feel is safe, confident that you'll be okay. And the safer you feel, the easier it'll be for you to relax into this otherwise really intense stretch. And what we want is to do the stretch better. So we want you to be able to relax, at least, I mean, we're just removing one of the barriers from relaxing. Okay. I don't know if you're actually going to be able to relax because this is intense. All right. Let's get into it. Open up those legs nice and wide until it's uncomfortable here at the hips. Then immediately fold forward, put your hands down. When you put your hands down, some of that weight that was in your hips just now is going to get shifted into your hands, and your legs will suddenly feel a lot less uncomfortable. From here, we want to externally rotate our legs. What that means is we want to rotate our legs so that the heel is down, the toes are up, and the knees are pointing up. And we want to do it on both sides. So it looks a little bit like this. Again, toes are up, heel is down, knees are up. We want to just chill here for a second. If this is really intense for you, you can stop. You don't have to keep going. This is already a really, really good spot to be. If you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, try to walk your hands further back so that your arms are touching your legs and all of your body weight is right over your hips. When your body weight is right over your hips, there's way more pressure in your legs to try and stretch and open. You can do this nice and slow, and Once you are as deep as you think, your arms are touching, you can't go any further. Try to do a little wiggle from side to side. See if maybe there's just a little bit of friction holding you back from a deeper side split. Once you are as deep as you can go for now, we will get deeper, don't worry. It's time to start at 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, lean forward. Crawl those hands forward. Crawl, crawl, crawl. Pull your legs together. Come back into standing if you can. And take a nice big deep breath. Wow, we just did our first side split stretch. Congratulations. You're 1/3 of the way done. Whew, okay, next up, shake. Shake everything else. Shakes everything. Wow, my words are all over the place today. Shake everything out. Wiggle, relax. You're probably noticing my hands just flopping around, but really what you need to focus on is making sure your legs are flopping around and loose. What we just did made our whole entire legs tense up and get really, really tight and confused. And now we're making sure that they relax as much as possible in between our rounds of side splits. So what that means is we're shaking out the leg and we're flopping around like it's fish, just freshly caught, going crazy. And you'll know you're doing it right when your leg is just moving sort of all over the place. Okay. Once you've done that, your legs feel like they're kind of normal-ish. Let's do a couple of quick checks to make sure that we are all good. The first thing I like to do is these sort of hula hoops, these hip circles. And you can choose to do them both ways if you'd like. Next up, lift those knees up, make sure the hip flexor muscles are working. Do a couple of mini squats to make sure your knees and your ankles and your toes are all good. And I like to wrap by kicking my butt just a little bit. Once you've done all those things and your legs are working, you're fine, you're catching your breath, then it's time to get into round 2 of side splits. Let's go. Same thing as before. Stay close to the wall so that if you lose balance, you'll fall into the wall and the wall will catch you and you'll feel super safe. Let's go. Open up those legs nice and wide. When it gets a little bit uncomfortable in the hips, fold forward. Put your hands down like you're going to do a push-up. We're not actually doing push-ups, but we're supporting our body weight to make it easier for us to externally rotate our legs. Externally rotating our legs means our heels are down, our toes are up, and our knees are pointing up. I'm wearing dark blue pants, so I'm going to bend my knee so you can see what I say. I'm pointing them up. They're up. Okay, once you're here, you can hang out here, but if you want to get into a more intense stretch, you can walk your hands back towards your hips. You can do a little wiggle from side to side. You can try to bend your elbows a little bit, like so, and that will put some more pressure into your legs because your shoulders and your arms aren't supporting you as much. Okay, once you're as deep as you can get for now, it's time to start at 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. At any time, you can always add a little bit of a wiggle, see if you can get a little deeper. Ooh, I think I might have gotten too deep. This is intense. Ooh, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, crawl forward. Oh, pull your legs together and out of that side split. Come back into standing. And come back up. Take a nice big deep breath. You did such a good job. That was round 2. We got one last one. But before we get into that last round, we got to shake it out. Wiggle dance. Fish flop, whatever you want to call this. I've described this so many ways. Wiggle, shake, relax those muscles. The goal of this, if I wasn't clear, is just to relax the muscles as much as possible in between. And if your arms and legs can look like this and they're just like whipping around, chances are your muscles are very relaxed. If they weren't, you would look like a weird robot thing, because you'd only move in one direction at a time. And we don't need to keep explaining this. Let's move on. Let's do the checks. Hip circles. Whew. By the time we get to the second stretch, second side split, usually the sides of my hips right here on either side get really tight. So I really like the hip circles. I put a couple extra seconds into just hanging out in that stretched position right here. And then, okay, my hips are good. Again, high knees. Work those knees and ankles and toes if you want to come up on those in the front a little bit and kick yourself in the butt real quick. And if your legs are working, then we are almost ready for more side splits. But since we just did a really intense second round, let's, bro, those pants look tight. They're actually super stretchy. I only wear really stretchy pants, and so if they look tight, that's got nothing to do with how they feel because I can kick to all the. I mean, I can't reach my. Sorry, how do I say this? My maximum flexibility is not impeded by my pants. So I appreciate that you're concerned about my pants, but they're good. Okay. Whew. If you're having fun, if you're entertained, please hit follow, hit subscribe. I know most of you already are, but I have to throw in that reminder because in case you aren't, you won't be able to find me tomorrow when we come back and do more live splits, right? So go do the thing, press the button, and come back tomorrow because we do this every single day. All right, round 3, side splits. Let's go. Same thing. If you are new to this or if you just joined the live and you have no idea what we're doing, we do 30 minutes of live side splits every single day, but this is the final side split. So if you get into this position and you start falling backwards, it's real easy to get real scared. But if you're really close to the wall, like 8 to 12 inches away from the wall, 20, 30 centimeters away from the wall, if you fall backwards, it'll be just like a nice, very hard cushion that supports your back. All right. That's what we want to make sure that you stay safe. And with that detail, it's time to get into the side split. Open up those legs nice and wide until it gets uncomfortable here in the hips. Fold forward. Put your hands down so that you're doing some almost push-ups. We're just doing this to shift the weight into your arms to make it easier for you to externally rotate your legs. What that means is your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. I'm going to bend my knee up just so you can see a little clearer. Whew. If you're here and you can't move any further, this is too intense, stay here. You got this. Only 30-something seconds. If you want to get deeper, walk your hands back. Shift all of that body weight right above your legs. Help yourself get into a deeper stretch. Do a little wiggle from side to side to see if you can break that last little bit of friction holding you back. And once you are in position, let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. Experiment with bending your elbows. You'll suddenly put a lot more weight into your hips. Most of the time, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Okay, crawl forward. Bring your arms in front. Pull your legs out of that stretch and come back into standing. We just finished our 3 rounds of side splits. Whew. All right, you know the drill. We've already done it twice. Shake it out. Flop. Flop around. Relax the legs. Relax the arms. Loose. Floppy fish like. And once your legs are starting to feel relatively normal, let's do our final round of checks. Gotta do the hip circles. Oh. I'm gonna do my spots that are always really tight after splits, either the left and the right, and my knees. Do a couple of quick squats to make sure my knees and my ankles are feeling good. The last 2 days, my left ankle was being a little bit weird, especially on the second and third round. Today feels really fine. So that's a good sign. All right, kick yourself in the butt. And once you are done with that, we are all wrapped up. All right. That is it for life size splits for today. Um, Stormy weather just followed. Thank you so much for joining in. Feisty Jess says thank you. Strawberry Shortcake 420 says thank you for doing this. Travel with Roxy says this was great. Thank you. Thank you everybody for the appreciation. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for hanging out long enough and you know doing the side splits, I presume, because otherwise be just watching me do side splits and be kind of funny, but not that funny. I'm not that entertaining. uh, Pamela Robb asks, do I do this the same time every day? Yes, that is going to be the case at least for the next 10 days. I am going to be traveling in a little bit, so it might change and it might be later in a couple of days. But for the next 10-ish days, it's going to be the same time every single day. And it has been the same time every day for the last 40, 50 days. Yeah. Forever Art by Cat says thank you, of course. Thank you, thank you. Goldie says thank you. I appreciate you guys all for coming, for practicing, for giving a shot to the, exercises that we did as you were coming in, because I'm sure we're just in the middle of something and you had no idea what the context was. So I appreciate you giving a shot. I appreciate you staying to the end. And I hope you had enough fun that I'll see you tomorrow or the day after or the day after that, because I'll be here. All right. Whew. Okay. Last call to action. Hit follow, hit subscribe, get notified, keep coming back. We do this every single day to practice consistency, both for you and for me, because it makes it much easier for me to practice every single night if you guys are here and I have people to talk to, right? Limulus, I don't know how to pronounce this properly, but Limulus, I'm gonna just stick with that. Thank you. Strawberry Shortcake, thank you for wishing everybody a good night. I appreciate that you're contributing to the community, right? Because it's one of the things I say all the time. And it's with enough consistency, with enough people practicing consistency, a community starts getting built. And that community makes it so much easier for you to show up and do some stretching, get to know people, have good vibes, have people support each other. Even if you don't really know each other, just good vibes makes it easier to do hard things. All right. That's it. I hope you felt like you made some good progress today, whether it's your comfort in getting into these stretches, maybe just getting more familiar with the stretches. Maybe you're deeper in your side split or the Cossack switch or your hamstring stretch than you've ever been. And you're like, whoa, I should do this more because this is cool. There's way more progress than I've ever thought that I could have done, because that's how I felt the first couple of days. Then keep coming back. You're in the right place. Come hang out. All right. That's enough rambling for me. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Hit follow, hit subscribe. Goodbye. And closed. All right, let's see. On YouTube, we have 2 people still on. I assume one is Queen R, and do I know who else might be on? Nope. YouTube gives me no information. Hello, second person. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed the live, and I hope you got some good stretching done. I'm calling it for today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.